food waste.
Complete zero waste.
Food waste.
Food waste.
Food waste.
Food waste management in Victoria is an important environmental management concern, as Canadians throw away $31 billion of food annually. For the purpose of this project, we have highlighted local initiatives to mitigate food waste.
How is this positively impacting the community in terms of food waste and food management?
Well, I mean, we bring in our products fresh. We try and keep the amount of waste down. We're trying to monitor anything that's not biodegradable. We do all our kitchen waste, fruits, vegetables, as we're cleaning in bins that we ship out that go to the recycling. Yeah, we concentrate on as much as recycling as we can.
Yeah, I would say we try and educate people around like food waste in terms of the fact that like 70 or 80% of it is coming from food that would otherwise be going to landfill. So just like looking at the impact that has and making them more cognizant of their choices that they're making around food. And I think it's everything from like realizing that so much food is thrown out because it's not at this like level of perfection that we all kind of anticipate when we go to the grocery store. We live in this culture of abundance that everything is available all the time, and we're not really learning about like seasonality or when things are available or in terms of that. So I would say it's had immense positive impact. Even just like bringing people in the community into Fernwood that wouldn't have otherwise known who we were. So it's like a cool, mutually beneficial relationship that we're building.
I think it's positively impacting people on sort of an individual level because it's sort of a transit community because people pass through the UVic community, But I think people take away from it skills to become engaged in the communities that they'll go and be part of. As a major impact.
How have you been successful in like reducing food waste in
Okay, so yeah, I mean, a lot of our products is brought in fresh. They're brought in bulk, so we're not smaller packaging, that sort of thing. So we don't have to put that into the garbage system. We compost or we recycle all our cardboards. We even recycle our plastic bags.
At Fernwood, just starting in March, we have been working with using a lot of rescued food. So that's through our partnership with the Food Share Network. So we're a member of 100 other organizations where we pay a small fee into getting access to reclaimed food. So Thrifty's Foods and Country Grocer, they donate their excess edible but no longer sellable but edible food to the Food Share Network, and that's operated through the Mustard Seed. So that's the local food bank in town, and so they gather that up. It's aggregated and redistributed out to all the different neighborhood houses, community centers, and transition houses. So we access that once or twice a week, probably like 6 or 7 boxes of veg, some dairy, some meat, and we utilize that in all of our food programs. So everything from our prenatal classes to our student dinner to our family dinner, it's all by donation or free, so we're able to feed a lot of people that way, which is great.
In terms of food waste that we've diverted as a club, it's like nothing. It's a drop of water in a rushing torrent of water. But in terms of informing people about food waste, we've definitely made an impact, I think, and that can sort of spread it exponentially, if people really care about the subject. But the amount of food waste is like on a huge scale at every stage of the consumption and distribution and production of food. Yeah. So in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, it's not really reduce food waste locally right now because that's kind of impossible, but we're trying to build on the concepts of food sustainability.
Do you know much about the Zero Waste Initiative at Mystic?
So yeah, I mean we do that in both areas, but there's always good. I can't see it actually becoming a complete zero waste. Just for the fact is that there's so many little bits and pieces, packaging that we actually have to we can't recycle.
Yeah, for sure.
A good example is straws. I think that's probably one of the ones that always comes up with the students. I mean, I am looking into paper straws, compostable straws. We basically are open to any options in our ordering.
What is the end goal of the community cabbage?
The end goal, there's no real definitive end goal other than a continued expansion of community building and learning about food sustainability and food waste. But a current goal that we have right now is to establish a community kitchen on campus where we can hold food sustainability themed events. Currently there's no place on campus for us to do that, so it's kind of hard. We have to use sort of scarcely and sparsely distributed resources, which makes it difficult, but yeah, that's our current goal.
How can someone get involved?
Someone can show up on Thursdays, usually at 4 to 6 at the Emmanuel Baptist Church, and help cook and learn about who we are and what we're trying to do. But on an individual level, you can just inform yourself about food waste and food sustainability, and then you'll understand what an important initiative this is. Yeah.
One of the many reasons food is so easily discarded originates from society's views on food. At grocery stores, food that is displayed for sale is visually pleasing and in perfect condition, while in reality, all the ugly food is thrown out. One of society's food waste flaws is in the way the consumer views food. In a study conducted in Canada, only 2.6% of the consumers would purchase an apple with a spot on it. Food waste costs our economies big time, roughly 100 billion Canadian dollars. Despite all this wasted food, over 850,000 people in Canada rely on food banks for food security. Of this total, more than 1/3 are children and youth. To combat these statistics, some students in the Victoria community have taken up dumpster diving. We tested this out ourselves and were shocked by what we found.
If you're concerned about the current direction of food waste management, here are a few ideas. A large portion of food is wasted because of overconsumption. Food waste management starts at the consumer. It's important to consider transport costs, social implications, and environmental impacts with respect to the food you purchase. Consider community dinners, dumpster diving, and dietary restrictions. There are many local options here in Victoria.
And what does food waste management mean to you?
So I think food waste management is something that is pretty trendy right now. So people are starting to recognize this as a huge impact on the environment. 40% of food that is grown globally is wasted. In isolation, dealing with food waste as a huge of a stepping stone that it is, in isolation, it's not actually going to change the industrial, unsustainable agriculture system that we all currently rely on. In terms of, drought that's happening in California, or people not being able to have access to or understanding seasonality of how food grows. So it's great, yay, but let's be careful and work on like food security and food sovereignty, learning how to grow our own food in partnership with working with reclaimed food. And I guess just having people reflect on their own food choices and like where they can, mitigate food waste in their own lives as well would be something that I hope people can acknowledge and achieve.
Basically, it's the environment for me. It's making sure that we have a world for our kids to live in, a clean environment. I just have a 2-month-old grandson. I'd like to see him have his grandkids and continue on. The world's basically getting more populated, and if we don't do the things now to try and be more sustainable, there's not going to be much left for our grandkids' kids. That's the main importance for me.
It starts with conscious decision making on my part, really being aware of where I get my food, where I source my food, how I treat my food. So it is sort of on an individual level, like watching my decisions and how many of my decisions I don't think about but are formed by societal structures that are complicit to food waste.
It's a necessary element to a sustainable future.
Component of waste management is also consumption management, and how much do we actually need to be consuming, because it's the consumption and it's the amount of people that are buying these things from the groceries that are sort of fueling that need for grocery stores to have so much food on hand all the time that ultimately results in waste.
Food waste management is something that can go in hand with food security, and it's making sure that everyone is being fed and that no food is being wasted, and that we're making sure that everything in our food system is being dispersed efficiently and evenly.